tonight's subjects. We're going to talk about where we're at in litigation. Okay, we are suing the Winds for rent issues. We're going to talk about the rent problem itself. We're going to talk about some other issues that have shown up in the park. And then we're going to talk a lot about the inspections and eviction notices. So, where we're at right now, we have 3 parks. It's us, Spanish Lakes 1, and Spanish Lakes Country Club Village joined in a lawsuit against the Winds, and we've had a preliminary hearing where motions were made, and we have filed an amended complaint in the circuit court up in Fort Pierce, and we're now waiting to see what the next step is. So the litigation only involves rent issues, and as I said, it's a waiting game now. Whenever the judge or somebody makes a motion, I wish I could tell you it's going to be next Tuesday, but I don't know if it's going to be next week or next month or when it's going to be. Just to let you know what's been involved, since this started about a year and a half ago, we have 659 computer files. We have 972 megabytes of data. And we have more than 2,500 emails and texts that have gone back and forth trying to deal with these problems. Okay, I think we need to refresh, how did we get here? Why are we in the situation that we're in? Ooh, that's small. Now I gotta go over here so I can read it.
June 15th.
Okay, on June 15th, 2021, everybody in the park got a notice. And that notice said that they were going to have a 3.5% rent increase for the following year for everybody. Plus, they were going to require us to pay half of the property taxes. And that was, I think it was $34.35 a month for everybody. Passing through taxes without reducing the rent an equal amount is illegal. Okay, there's no question it is illegal. So we decided to fight it. On October 12th, 2021, we delivered a petition to mediate to our attorney, in other words, to start the legal process. On November 2nd, 21 days later, we got a letter from the Winds attorney rescinding the tax pass-through and asking us to stop the mediation. In other words, not go to mediation. So we all said, yahoo, we won. And the board actually went out to dinner to celebrate. And we paid for it ourselves, but we went out and celebrated. 2 days later, there's a letter dated November the 4th, 2 days later, from Joel Wynn. It went to everybody. And he said, we're rescinding the tax pass-through and the 3.5% rent increase. We're going to jack the rent way up. That wasn't right. So what got rescinded when? This is the actual letter from Andre Velez, their attorney, and it's dated November the 2nd, and the highlight says, basically says they decided not to pass the taxes on, and that they were going to rescind that, the tax pass-through. And that they asked that because now there's no need for mediation, we just need to cancel everything. So we told our attorney, yeah, go ahead, cancel the mediation, we're done. Two days later, Joe gets this letter, and he says, we canceled the tax pass-through and the 3.5%, and now we're going to use the most recent CPI and jack everybody's rents way up. That was deceitful. They got us to stop the mediation by saying one thing, and then they turned around and did something else. We never would have canceled the mediation if we had the second letter. That's why we're still litigating. The 4723, which is a statute governing all this stuff, it talks about the park owner's general obligations. And it says they are to maintain buildings and improvements in common areas in a good state of repair, and maintenance and maintain the common areas in a good state of appearance, safety, and cleanliness. That's what they're supposed to do. They have to comply. They have to comply with properly promulgated park rules and regulations. Now understand what that means. That means if an owner of a house has to do something, they have to do the same thing to the houses that they own. And then 723-033, unreasonable lot rental agreements, increases and changes. The decrease in services or utilities is not accompanied by a corresponding decrease in rent is a grounds for not allowing a rent increase. Okay? When this all happened, this park was a dump. They weren't taking care of anything. And because of that, we said, no, we would have let you get away with 3.5%. But we're not going to 7.5 because you haven't fixed anything.
But they did.
After the fact. And they did because we took them to court.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a big table. This shows all the calculations about what they owe people. We're not going to go into it too much. This is the different letters and increase. Some people got 4 letters for the same tax increase. How can you do that? It's different. So, the bottom line is, if we hadn't done anything, what would have happened to the rent? For the first year, they wanted 3.5% plus 34.35 for the taxes. The average rent would have gone from $725 to $681, which is a 9.0% increase. The CPI was only 5%. They were only allowed to have a 5% increase. This is how they do things. They try to get around everything. The second year, this is a supposition. They did raise the rent 7.5%. But if we had said, well, okay, we'll pay half the rent this year, is there anybody in this room that doesn't think that they would have gone for the second half of the rent the next year? They even said in their letter, we're only taking 50% this year. Joe Wynn said that. So if they had done that, for the 2-year increase would have been 12.5%. And the rent would have gone from $625 to $766. $140-some. So that's why when we say we want the rent increase for that year to be 0, there's a reason for it. So the rents are lower than they would have been by a fair amount. The park maintenance is better. We were able to, it was close, but we were able to reinstitute the mediation after we had told our attorney to cancel it. We went to mediation, and some of us went over to Cape Coral to the attorney's office. We started at 8 o'clock in the morning. The mediation ended at 6 o'clock that night. We were there 10 hours with nothing to eat, and they refused to pay back money that was illegally taken from our people. So the mediation failed. But we did present a 54-page document documenting the condition of the park. And the mediator was appalled, their attorney was appalled. The mediation ended at 6 o'clock that night. At 8 o'clock the next morning, there were about 30 people across the street starting to fix those houses up. It was because of the mediation. So things are getting better, and the people that work so hard to do this, I think they deserve credit for that. Some facilities are being opened. The wood shop is open. It's been closed for years. So that's why we're suing. I just think it's, every once in a while, we just need to run through things real quick so we stay focused on what's happening. We have other issues. The auditorium speakers. People have a hard time hearing with this sound system. This belongs to the HOA, and what we bought this for was so when the microphone that's supposed to be here is working, that when we have questions and comments from the audience, this microphone can go out there so we can talk back and forth and everybody can hear what's going on. I asked at the last meeting for everybody to send an email to the Winds and say, you need to fix the speakers because we have people that can't hear. Only 2 people did. But we got a lot of really, really nice emails back. People offering to fix it, to lend equipment and so on. And that is really wonderful. I mean, that's nice that people did that, but it's not the point. It's not ours, it's theirs. And it needs to be fixed. So that's why we had a petition back there. Oh, backed up there. So this system, it's the 2 speakers up here, and there's a panel right here where all the microphones and audio equipment, everything is plugged in. It's built in. And that system was installed and it's owned by the Winds. The prospectus says the auditorium is to have, quote, tables, chairs, sound system, and stage. It's in the prospectus, they have to provide that. And both the 427.3 and the prospectus, they say they have to keep whatever is here in good working order. They have not done yet. So the sound system up here, we're not responsible for. This has not been working for over a year. When they remodeled the auditorium, they cut the wires. And you can see them hanging over there. Hook the damn thing back up. We have two people that complained. Now, if you look at the newsletter, it says if you have a concern, that you send an email, and you will receive a reply in 5 days. Two people sent an email. One person got a reply after 9 days, not 5. And what the reply said was, "Thank you for bringing this to my attention," like they didn't know it was a problem. "We'll look into it and see what we can do." No, fix it. The second person, after over 3 weeks, is still waiting for an answer. So just, there's this built-in speakers, there's the disconnected wires, and there's all the connections built into the stage. This isn't something that affects everybody. But I think we need to talk about it because it demonstrates the kind of people that we're dealing with. A resident was asked if they could use our water, the water sod that was installed when they were doing all the drainage work. She was told that they would promptly reimburse her for the water. I bet you everybody out here knows what's going to happen next, don't you? Her water bill is usually about $40 a month, so it's about $150 she got a bill for. Come on. Okay, it's been weeks and she's still waiting to get paid. They want to get back to her. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'll give you some kind of signal. Okay. So she's still waiting for her money. When you owe them $1, do you know what happens? Okay, new resident notices. Sandy talked a little bit about this. They went to the desk a couple days ago to get the February or the January new resident notices so we could do welcome packages for our new friends and neighbors. So for years, every month we get the new resident notices. So we have been informed this week that the Wind Building Corporation has put sharing this information on hold. This is called retaliation. And it's retaliation because we're suing them for what they did that was illegal. Bulk trash. For as long as anybody can remember, You put something on, Vice President picked it up and took it away. The latest contract that the Wind signed with Waste Pro says that if you have bulk trash, that you have to call Waste Pro and arrange for pickup, and you have to pay $25 for them to come, plus $25 for each item that they pick up. So if you have, say, a table and 4 chairs, it's going to cost you $150. This is a brand new thing. It has no historical precedent. This fee is a violation of the prospectus, and I believe it's another form of retaliation by these people. Go ahead. This is exactly what it says in the prospectus. It says service, garbage collection in Spanish Lakes will be twice weekly. That's what it says. The billing agent, it's included, trash pickup is included in your base rent. The billing frequency, not applicable because you don't have to pay, they're supposed to pay. This is a crock of crap. Okay, now we're going to talk about these inspections and evictions. And I got to do some ground rules here. Okay, I'm not an attorney and I do not give legal advice. So if I say anything that sounds like legal advice, just don't listen. Okay, I am going to give you my opinion. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that I want the park to be as attractive as possible. So if people have things that need to be done, we need to do it. What we're objecting to is the way it's being done and the things it's being done for. The park rules are kind of ambiguous. Okay, there's a couple that are kind of specific, but the rest of them are like, well, you can't do this. Well, what does that mean? They don't tell you. That allows the park owners to misuse the rules. As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to make a rule, it's got to be clear, unambiguous, and definite. So that when you look at it, say, yep, can't do that, yep, got to do that. A lot of people that are getting told to do things that are like weird are told that this is a new rule. If you were told by anybody in this park that it's a new rule, you tell them that they're full of it. Because the new rules have to be properly added. And if you change a rule, it's got to be properly changed. And there shouldn't be excessive penalties. You got a spot in your driveway, they got no right to tell you they're going to seize your house and throw you out in the street. That's just stupid. Also, we have a lot of people have been telling me that they got their original notice at the end of November. And I looked and they said, yeah, you know, I got to take care of this. And they did. And they told the park that they took care of it. At the end of January, they get a notice they're going to throw them out unless they fix it, and they already fixed it 6 weeks ago. But where is that coming from? I got a notice on November 29th. It was dated November 28th. To pressure wash my driveway within 14 days. The driveway was pressure washed on December 11th, which is 12 days after I got the notice. So I called the number on the notice to report that I had pressure washed my driveway. I got an irate woman who screamed at me because I called the emergency number on Sunday. I said, no, this is the number you call when I pressure wash my driveway. That's only during the week. You should know this is the emergency number. Okay. So I called again on Monday. I told him I pressure washed the driveway, it was completed, and I was told it was marked done. 6 weeks later, I get a letter saying they're going to throw me out of my house if I don't pressure wash the driveway. This has happened to other people too. They've corrected the problem, told them it was corrected, and then they get this crap. Okay. That's what the... No, I need coffee. Water's for coffee.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
This is what the notice looks like. This is the one I got, the one that's that you get with a certified letter. And it's very disturbing. The language is disturbing. Because they think my driveway's dirty. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The window air conditioner travesty. It is a travesty. All of a sudden, people have been told that they have to remove their window AC units. I don't want to characterize people or try to put anybody in a negative light, but it's no surprise that we have people living here who
Can't afford it.
they can't afford it. Okay, I'm trying to think of it.
What's that?
Okay, they can't afford $10,000, $12,000 for a central air conditioning unit. So they do what they can afford to be comfortable. They come out the clear blue sky and say, you gotta take them out. Some people have told me that they've had window AC units for 20 years. And it's never been a problem. A lot of people tell me that they purchased their home and it had window air conditioning units in it, and the winds came and inspected the house and told people everything they had to do, and it wasn't mentioned. And I've been told by people that the window sold houses to people with window air conditioning units. 4723, our old friend, new rules. First of all, there is no specific rule in Spanish Lakes Gulf Village rules and regulations that says you cannot have a window air conditioner. It does not exist. New rules have to be properly and legally added. Next one. In order to change a rule, just look at the underlined stuff. The park owner has to give written notice to each mobile homeowner and the board of directors at least 90 days before any new rule goes into effect. The homeowner's right to to the 90-day notice may not be waived or precluded. In other words, there's no way you can avoid a 90-day notice. How many people in here, this new rule, how many people got a letter from the winds 90 days before they said this, that you can't have a window air conditioner? How many people got that letter? Geez, nobody. What a surprise. The prospectus is the second place. It says the same thing. You have to give 90 days written notice. Okay, let's go to the next one. So I sent an email, and it kind of talked about how this isn't a rule, it's a made-up rule. It's cruel. It's really disgusting. And I got a letter back. Dear Mr. Neal, what a nice way to start a letter. The following is Spanish Lakes Golf Village's response to the above email of November 30th, 2022. And then it says, there is no rule with regards to the request to remove the window air conditioning units in Golf Village. The rule that applies to this situation is as follows. Golf Village Policies and Regulations, paragraph 14. Temporary or permanent exterior additions of any type require the written approval of park management. Call up somebody that does home additions and ask them how much they charge to put a window air conditioner in. You know what they're going to tell you? Huh? It's not an addition. It's putting something in your window. Do you have to get permission to put a sun catcher in your window? You hang up.
Not yet. Not yet.
At the moment, it's not coming either. That is stupid. But that's their rationale. So, and then he ends up regards Andre Velez Esquire, General Counsel for the Wind Building Corporation. That's their stupid rationale. What does our attorney say about it? It's a good thing we got an attorney.
That's right.
He said, I cannot see any judge enforcing this in Florida. Also, a waiver would be a defense. And Robert Brandt, our attorney. I don't know what that means. So when I asked him, he says, waiver is a defense. That means that this has been going on for years and they never complained. So they waived any right to objection. Okay? That's what our attorney says. And then I said, well, Bob, we got to know what to do. I said, these people are desperate. I said, should we tell our people not to remove the window air conditioners? His reply was, I would. Okay, so I'm not giving you legal advice, but basically our attorney said, don't do it. So what's the justification for this? I think it's cruel. And I asked Velez, I said, if you don't think this is cruel, can you tell me why it is not cruel? He didn't answer me. And then I said, I don't think you can justify this. How can you possibly justify this, and why do you think this is a good idea? He won't answer me. You know why? Because there isn't any answer that makes any sense. Then they come along and they say, well, if the AC unit is in the Florida room, it's okay. But it's not okay if it's in the main house. So you know what I would do? I would send them a letter saying, I've turned my entire house into a goddamn floor room. This is retaliation. Now, it gets better. You've heard the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, right? An owner was notified by management on November 29th, 2022 to remove her window AC units. The owner then received a directive, the threat to evict, certified mail, on January 23rd from the park manager in 1 week by February 6th, or they're going to throw her out of her house. In all the emails going back between me and the Honorable Mr. Velez, Corporate Counsel for the Wind Building Corporation, on December the 6th, he wrote to me, and this is the underlined part, Spanish Lakes communities will be giving residents 6 months to remedy any window air conditioning. Next one, I already did that. So the park manager told the owner that he had 69 days from the first notice to remove the air conditioner by February the 6th. Now the park manager told them that 48 days after the one's attorney told me they had 6 months. Okay? You wouldn't believe how hard it is to keep this crap straight. So, I don't know, do these people, but by what the attorney said, they have until May 29th, not February 6th. Do they even talk to each other? Do they have any clue what the hell they're doing or saying? Now, this is the best part. This is really where stupidity is exemplified. Who do you think owns that house? That's a really well-maintained and beautiful unit, isn't it? And the installation was magnificent. That's at 89 West Caribbean, right across the street. You will be evicted if you don't clean and or paint your driveway. Who do you think owns that driveway? Well, if you don't want to be evicted, you should make your driveway look like the ones that the wind's on. Now, once you have cleaned and painted and made your driveway absolutely perfect and pristine and beautiful, it's going to connect to a street. Like that. And that. And that.
And the mold.
What the hell is wrong with these people? I think the street should look at least as good as the driveways.
Driveways look better.
Power wash your house or you will be evicted. Who owns that house? We're ready. Remove pavers by your driveway or you will be evicted. Gulf Village Policies and Regulation number 18. Each lot may be landscaped in an attractive manner to suit the resident. Landscape each lot to suit you. So Google, my old friend Google, I go, what are some legal definitions of landscape? Number one, landscaping means the treatment of land, yada, yada, yada. It includes screening by fences, walls, or other means of enclosure, measures to screen, planting of trees, hedges, shrubs, and grass. And then down at the end, the underlined paved areas, courts, and other amenity features. Pavers are part of the landscape, according to that definition. And then another one come up, and again, blocks or other structures and materials is used in modern landscape architecture. Then I went on Amazon, because they sell books, and some of the books have to do with landscaping. Landscaping was stunning. Landscaping for beginners. Look at all the stones. Landscaping ideas. Look at, that's just the first 3 books that came up. You are allowed to landscape your lot, and that is landscaping. As far as I'm concerned. It's another thing they made up. There's no rule against it. Put your shutters up or we're going to throw you out. You don't have to be here either. If you're up north, it doesn't matter. You got to get in a plane, come down, put your damn shutters up. There's no specific rule about shutters. The prospectus and 4723 both refer to and specify the rights and responsibilities of homeowners. This is critical. There is no distinction between a home owned by an individual or one owned by a corporation or the park owner. They all are subject to the same rules. Therefore, the houses that are here in our community that are owned by the Wind Building Corporation have to follow the same rules as everybody else. Guess who owns that? Boy, that's really pretty. Skirting's damaged, shutters are done. Oh, but one's up, where the window air conditioner is. Fix your skirting or you will be evicted. Now, one of our owners got in touch with me and her skirting is damaged. They're threatening to evict her. She has ordered skirting to repair the damage. It's back ordered, it's not available. And it was damaged by lawn-mowing people who were employees of the Wind Building Corporation, and she shouldn't have to fix a damn thing. Guess who owns these houses? Nice skirting.
There's one with no skirt on his skirt.
Okay. Now, the rules don't make any distinction between a home that's vacant or occupied or how long it's been here. And when they have homes that are not repairable, they tear them down, they bring another home in. That house is subject to exactly the same rules. So, my old friend Google, how long does it take to install a double-wide mobile home? First 3 answers. Number 1, 2 to 3 weeks. Number 2, about 14 days. Number 3, about 2 weeks. So let's just call it 2 weeks. That's when the truck comes down the street with the two halves of the house until people move into it. Okay. The replacement homes they bring in sit there for months, sometimes a year. And they look like they wouldn't let them into the town council. How would you like to look out your door and see that month after month, and then be told they're going to throw your ass out of here because you got a spot in your driveway?
I see that every day. It's the end of
That's the end of our
our street.
street.
That's where it is. It's lovely, isn't it? Don't you just, do you take pictures and send them to all your friends about what you got next door?
Right on the lake.
Did they get an eviction notice? For damage skirting? Oh, they don't have any skirting. Clean paint the drive, oh, they don't have a driveway. Damaged siding, unapproved siding, no carport, missing trim, a dozen other things. Did they get an eviction notice? Okay, let's do another one.
Yeah. Who owns that house?
The winds.
The one that's not set yet.
Yeah, they own it. Do you know what would happen if this was your house? What do you think they'd do if that was your house? Because they own it, they think they don't have to do a damn thing. They are wrong. So why are they doing all this? We've heard a number of different things. We heard that there were 300 of these eviction things in progress, and we heard 450. And today, Roberto, everybody knows Roberto, the mailman, he said he's delivered 200 in the past 2 days alone. I think it's retaliation because we're suing them because they're doing things that are illegal. Retaliation is illegal too. Is it because they want you to get angry or frustrated or just so tired you just don't want to fight anymore and give up? And then they can either seize your home and sell it for a lot of money, or even if you sell it to somebody else, when the new person comes in, they can jack the rent up $150. It's all about getting money. I don't know if what they're doing is illegal, per se.
I think some of this will go on.
But it sure is immoral. It isn't nice, but it does make them a lot of money. Our attorney is going to file an injunction to stop this. That's why we need all of your paperwork that you got. Okay? And we'll be going to court with pictures of all the crap that the wind zone, and I'll be saying, Judge, how can they possibly want to evict people for a spot in the driveway when the people that own this park have this crap that people have to look at?
This is elder abuse.
It is.
This is completely elder abuse.
It is, it's a federal thing, I think.
Everything we've talked about tonight, I believe, is retaliation. Never happened before. This used to be such a wonderful place to live. It was attractive, it was maintained. We didn't have these problems, we had mutual respect. They're trying to blame the HOA, they're trying to blame you for standing up for your rights. And we just clearly demonstrated that what they're doing is wrong. It's arrogant, it's wrong, it's not right. Do we have the right to give them, I would love to go over there and put a notice on there. You have 7 days to fix this crap, we're throwing you out of the park.
Yes.
They really, I've said this before, they really believe that we are old and stupid and afraid. We're old. We ain't stupid, and we ain't afraid. They have not demonstrated any respect for the people that live here. They haven't demonstrated any regard for us. They walked all over our rights and made stuff up to justify the stupid things that they want to do. And in my opinion, this is a result of greed and arrogance.